Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Ask Sharifah. This is our last interview for this week. It's Friday, TGIF, and it is a beautiful day after a lot of rain in Southern California. So we are going to speak to our guest, but before we do that, I'm going to ask you to do what I always ask you to do, and that's to go ahead and share this video, share this live interview, because friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah. Now, if you are joining us in the chat room, if you have any questions for our guests, any comments for our guests, please let me know, and I'll go ahead and read those comments live on the air to our guests. So yes, we're going to have some interesting, it's going to be interesting today because we're going to speak to a holistic counselor, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she does, as well as how her services are just a little bit different. Good afternoon, Nomi. How are you?
Great.
Thank you for joining me. Again, we have the pleasure of having Nomi Bachar on the line live with us on Facebook. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to ask. We have people already joining us in the chat room. Lucinda, Lisa. Yes. So make sure you go ahead and share this interview. So Nomi, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Wow, that's a very long question, but let me see how I can answer it. About myself, born and raised in Israel, started my young life as a performer, actor, dancer, and so on. Came to New York as a performer, successful career as a performer, and then certain emptiness led me to be interested in healing. And about, 30 somewhat years ago, I trained as a psychotherapist in experiential and expressive modalities of psychotherapy, and started my practice about almost 27 years ago. So I am an artist, and I am a transformer, and I work with people to create the inner self that they want and who they really are, and to create their life in the way that they want it and are passionate about, and create their mission and purpose in the world. It's all a very creative process. It's all artistic and creative. So I give them tools to do that.
Wow, we're going to talk a little bit about those tools, Nomi, but I want to go back to one of the things that you said. You said first that you were interested in entertainment, you were interested in the arts, being a performer, and then you went from there to helping other people. What was your journey like? I mean, what made you decide to make, I guess some might call it a switch, right? A drastic switch, but usually we kind of have our self-help or wanting to help other people, heal other people with us for a long time, especially artistic people, because we feel deeply. So what made you decide to go from focusing on the arts to focusing on helping other people?
For a big chunk of my life, I did both. Mm-hmm. But what helped me move in that direction was my own breakdown as a young person around 30. I had a very severe depression that came upon after a separation. And I started going to therapy, and I realized that I was, as all people, I was gifted with the gift of rearranging my inside. And that became very interesting to me as an artist. I realized just as you can create a show, you can create your internal space and your life to be something new, something different, something or something that is the actual thing. You know, because many times we veer off from who we really are, and we just need to return. But that returning is an act of creativity too.
Mhm.
My own suffering at that point as a young person.
So when you were suffering, you said, hey, let me help other people out. Let me do the work for myself so other people can benefit from this work. So when you started doing the self-help, the self-healing for yourself, what were some of the steps that you took to create this life, this new life that you wanted?
Well, at that point, it was just, I started with one modality of therapy.
Mhm.
And at that point, my therapist of then said to me, you know, Nomi, you're really a born therapist. You should go into the training. And it was a little strange to me. I said, no, I'm not. I'm a performer. But it took a little while and it sunk in that, yes, I have a gift when it comes to that. He saw that, like when I was in the group therapy, and the way that I was giving people feedback, and my ability to see things, layers in people. And so he said, you know, you have a gift. You really have a gift. And once I got over my resistance, because when you're an actor, a dancer, director, you're not interested in sitting there with other people. But slowly I became, and I think it's a question of maturity. You know, you need to mature a little bit. So by 35 or so, I embraced that.
Mhm.
And it became very interesting, very fulfilling, very amazing for me. So I did do 4 different trainings. And in each training, I had to do 100 hours of personal therapy.
Mhm.
So it accumulated to a lot of good work that I did on myself. And when I completed all these trainings after 7 years or more, I created a different way that included some elements from each one of these trainings.
No, one of the things that you mentioned is your mentor, the person who helped to get you on this path, saw the gift in you. He saw your abilities based on the fact that when you were in the group, in this group therapy or this group surrounding, you were giving people advice. You were telling them, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, or however you phrased it. But was there, because again, mind you, this was before you took the courses, before you took the classes and
Yes.
even went on that path.
Right.
Was there any type of nervousness or awkwardness to give that type of advice, or you just knew what you wanted to say?
No, it was just from the core, from the soul. It wasn't even advice. I would be telling people the deeper layers of their own feelings.
Mhm.
I would see into their feelings deeper than they could see or express.
Mhm.
They would go, yeah, yeah. So it's an ability to see into somebody's heart,
Mhm.
into somebody's soul, and see it and express it with compassion, with a sense of empathy and acceptance. And sometimes say something, you know, how about that? Oh, did
Mhm.
you think about that?
Mhm.
I
Yes.
wasn't thinking that I should be giving advice or anything, you know, but I was, it's the ability to see very deep
Mhm.
and see with a lot of compassion.
That definitely makes sense. But even sometimes when we can see every certain things, we may be able to see something, but especially when we're younger, that's why I like when you mentioned your maturity level, but especially when we're younger, we can see something, but we don't necessarily know how or know if it's okay for us to be able to share what we see with
Right.
other people. So
Right.
that's why I was wondering if there was ever any point where you're like, I see it, but I don't know if I should say it.
No, no, I don't know why, but I was just like, it was coming out.
Mhm.
It was just
That's
coming out.
that's beautiful. So after this period of your life, moving forward, studying, you started your own methodology. So can you tell us a little bit about the Gate of Power method, which you have
Yes,
created? Mhm.
yes. It's a method that helps you, first of all, organize your internal space
Mhm.
and then all 7 areas of your life, which I call gates. That's why the system is called Gates of Power. So when you think about what's going on inside of you, I realized that there are 3 people sitting inside of us.
Mhm.
Our emotional self is one, our defensive self is another, and our expanded self is the third one. So most of the time, the defensive self is leading the pack. Why? Because as very young people, very young children, we get hurt in the emotional self. And the defensive self, which is like a sister or a brother, gets very protective, overprotective, over defensive. And it starts enveloping the emotional self with coats of defensiveness.
Mhm.
We learn to be aggressive or manipulative or controlling or charming or excelling or isolating, whatever the defensive combination of defensive modalities that we create. These are coats, they're not really us. And we cover our emotional self with that in order to protect. But then we get stuck there and it becomes a prison. Now, we do have a third element, the expanded self.
Mhm.
That is our wisdom self. It's the drop of God sitting inside of us. And most people don't know how to use that part to help the 2 other parts that got stuck very early in childhood. So the first thing that I do with people is I help them differentiate. Oh, this is my emotional self, and this is what I'm feeling here. And this is the defensive self that I've built. And this is how it's not helping me grow right now. It's actually stopping me. And this is my expanded self. And I give them the training, the coaching, the tools so that they can be more and more their expanded self. They can live their life from there. They can heal the emotional self, relax the defensive self, and create a team that's going to be supportive and balanced and working together. So it's hard to explain, but there's a whole way that I teach people how to do that and coach them. So that's your internal self. And out of your internal self, you do your life. So those gates, those areas of life, the gate of the body, the gate of emotions, the gate of dialogue, which is the gate of relationships, the gate of creative expression, the gate of life path, which is life direction and purpose and mission, the gate of silence, prayer, meditations, spiritual understanding, and the gate of knowledge. These are the 7 areas of life, and your inner being expresses through them. They are channels. So if your inner being is very tight, uptight, and fear-based and defensive, the gate of the body is going to be tight. The gate of emotions is going to be tight. dialogue, the gate of relationships, is going to be tight and not really working great, and so on and so forth. All these 7 gates are going to be somewhat blocked. Not really, the energy is not flowing freely, expressively, vibrantly. So in my work, I help people first balance and heal the inner self, those 3 aspects, and then open all these areas of life, all these gates, and optimize them so that your body is strong and flowing and vibrant, your emotions are expressive and positive, and so on and so forth.
Oh, there's a lot of information that we just gathered. Again, if you are just now joining us on Ask Sharifah, we are live with Nomi Bachar. And I just want to say hello to everyone, to Carl, Kendrick, Trudy, Chanel, Letitia, Tammy, Joyce, who are live listening to this show. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, we are learning a lot today about the Gates of Power method. And so again, ask your questions, make your comments. I'll be sure to pass those along to Nomi. That's a lot of information. I was just listening to everything that you had to say, and I felt empowered. I felt like I could, when you were walking through it, I could like almost feel the gates, feel the different sections, the integration or the lack thereof, because I knew what you mean by our defensive self typically leads us. There are so many other avenues, but you were able to explain it in a way that not many are able to explain. What can people expect to achieve from the Gates of Power method?
Well, first of all, they achieve the inner balance and peace among those 3 sides of themselves. Mostly people are very hurt and chaotic in their emotional self, which is not good.
Right. Not good at all.
Defensive self is very tight, all the time trying to be something that we're not, to get the attention, to get the love, to get the sense of safety and validation. So it's just like a lot of effort in the wrong direction. And that includes addictions sometimes and all of that. And expanded self, which is our wisdom and our intuition and compassion, gets pushed into the corner. So this is chaos. These people are suffering. So first of all, I'm teaching them how to heal themselves, how to balance themselves, how to lead from the expanded place. So that creates balance and peace and harmony inside. And then I'm teaching them how to really take care of each one of those facets of life. You need your emotions to be healthy. You need to be able to release the difficult emotions and reinforce the joy, the love, the positive emotions. You need to be able to have a body that is not tight and uptight, full of symptoms. You need to have relationships that are fulfilling, that are authentic, that are real, and so on. You need the gate of creative expression to be open. You need your life path gate. You need to be clear about your purpose, and you need to be able to know how to walk towards that and make it manifest, right? You need to be able to meditate and be still. That's the gate of silence. And be able to connect spiritually. And you need the gate of knowledge. You need to be open to new knowledge. So I'm teaching them how to create an expanded way of living. where all the parts of themselves are being taken care of.
Wow, this is amazing. Now, let me just add, everything that you said, it makes sense. I'm listening to what you're saying, but one of the questions that I have is, at what point does someone decide that they need to come and work with you or change their life utilizing the Gates of Power method?
I think when people come to a place that they feel that they're not going anywhere. I mean, some people feel that they're not going anywhere, and they just keep knocking their head against the wall, and they won't reach out for help. There are these people too. But most people who are intelligent and conscious, and they want to do something with their life, when they feel that I am in a stuck place,
Mm-hmm.
I need help.
Mhm.
I need some tools. I need some more awareness, understanding. I need something. That's when they come to me.
Mhm. Do they usually typically come to you after they've, tried? A lot of times people try this, try that. They, I've gone here, I've gone there, I've wandered around the desert, as they say, and
Yeah.
nothing really helps. So at that point, they come to you and you're able to work with them.
Yes. A lot of the time they come to me after they've been around doing all kinds of things. And many times I ask, okay, how long have you been in therapy before? 5 years, 7 years. Okay. What do you know about your inner structure? What's going on there? I don't know. What's going on in your emotional? Where do you think that part is stuck? What happened? I don't know. So what did you do for 7 years in therapy?
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Or how are you taking care of yourself? What are your choices, commitments, and actions in all the areas of your life? I don't know. There are a lot of wonderful therapists out there, and I don't want to say anything negative about any of that. But Gates of Power is very systematic. There's no hiding, and you cannot just talk and talk and talk about things. It goes deep down into the root, and it gives you all the tools to take full responsibility. And I say I'm a tough coach, loving but tough. Anybody who comes to me, I say, you are going to have to be your own parent, healer, coach, therapist, and you're going to have to be the best caretaker of yourself. I don't promote any dependency on me. I give them the tools, and I, just like any good coach, I call them to absolute accountability.
Mhm. Yes. Now, Nomi, we do have a comment from one of our viewers. Tammy says, unfortunately, it is usually evident while in crisis, but it should be utilized as a proactive measure.
I agree. And I wish that this could be an educational method, and I actually am thinking about it in the school system, so that it's given to young people before they get into so much trouble that it's very hard to repair. So yes, anybody can use this.
Mhm.
You don't have to be suffering to work with me.
No, I think it's wonderful that you mentioned that you're focusing on the school systems, because I think what happens, and again, I always tell people I'm not a doctor, I don't have a license or anything to practice medicine, so I don't give medical advice. But just going through life, one of the things that I've seen in life is that we have so much trauma from our childhood, and then it affects our life. We make different choices, we go down different paths, and then when we get, 40-ish or 50-ish, or maybe like you said 35 earlier, then we stop and we go, what's going on, what's happening? And then we have to go back to our childhood to figure out actually, how we got here. But if we start with young people, it actually allow them to understand this is what you're feeling, this is what you're going through. Then maybe they may not make some of the choices and decisions, and at least understand what they're feeling.
Yes, yes. So this needs to be part of regular education. I mean, this is part of my vision, to be able to implement that. Mm-hmm. But I would say to anybody who is interested in the workings of our inside and the workings of our life, and wants to know how to actualize, to take potential and turn it into a wonderful life. Mm-hmm. Read the book, at least read the book, Gates of Power, Actualize Your True Self. The book is on Amazon, and it gives you information. It talks about each gate, it gives you exercises, case studies, and so on. So at least the knowledge.
Yes, knowledge is power. At least have the information. Again, we have quite a few more people who have joined us on this live Facebook interview. Imandisa just jumped into our live feed. Good afternoon to Imandisa. Again, if anyone has any questions, any comments, we're, I think, all just enjoying the show. Nomi, you're providing us with so much information. But Lamel just joined us on the live. But we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. So again, I want to open it up. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you'd like to show Nomi your support, please let me know in the comments, and I'll go ahead and read it to her. And so I'll go on with my questions. We did mention the school system, your vision, and where you want to go. But currently, are you doing one-on-one sessions, workshops? What do you do right now to work with people?
Okay. Gates of Power is a whole curriculum. And it's weaving together one-on-ones and workshops. There are 7 levels of the program. So people start, we're doing some one-on-one, and then they jump into the level 1, which is 2 days. And then continue with one-on-one, and then they jump into level 2 and continue. And I ask people to go as high as they can go, but I don't force, there are all these 7 levels, from beginners to intermediate to advanced leadership, available. And people can choose how far they want to go. But it's a combination of one-on-one and workshops.
Are people able to become certified in the Gates of Power method and teach it to others?
People can be facilitators after they finish the 7th level, but they only have to work with me. They can't just take whatever and do whatever they want. It has to be within our institute, White Cedar Institute, and within our workshops. But yes, they can.
Okay, we do have another question from the comments. How much time is involved?
If you are going to go through it pretty fluidly, it could take you 1.5 years. Yeah, which is not a lot for getting a lifelong total rebooting and re-energizing and rebalancing, and having the tools for the rest of your life and the rest of your lifetimes to use.
Yes. The thing about it too is we see this not only with healing and with being holistic in our health, our mental health, our we see it also with our physical health. You know, I think of it like weight loss and weight gain. We always want to lose weight in about 2 weeks,
But
maybe. Like sometimes I wish I could lose about 50 pounds in a day. But what we forget is it took years and years for us to pack on the weight. So it's going
right,
to take time for it to come out. So it's the same thing with working through the methods. Some of the things that we have learned is going to take time to
yeah,
unlearn, and it's going to take time to react and respond in different ways. So it definitely is going to take some time. So you mentioned it'll take about a year and a half. So that's kind of average, give or take.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there are a lot of people who stay with me after because they want to keep, and they're successful, they're feeling good, but they want to keep growing because
Mhm.
it's very challenging. I'm a very challenging coach, and it's always like, where is the next level? You know, what's next? And people love that. And I want to mention that the way that I work is a combination of meditations and spiritual exercises, creative exercises. People write and draw and move and make sounds, emotional work, energetic understanding of the energy field and the body, and actionable plan. We have something that's called the vision map, and each gate gets the vision for that gate, all the misalignments, the commitments, and all the actions. And we follow this very actionable plan. So it's a beautiful combination of the spiritual, the meditative, emotional, energy, creative, and very actionable, very grounded.
Now, does someone have to be local to you?
They don't have to. It would be good if they can come when there is a workshop. But I work with people from all over the world. I have people in San Francisco, I have people in Germany, I have people in Israel, I have people in Spain. So they work through Skype,
Mhm.
and they do the meditations, the inner dialogue, the vision map, everything by Skype. But it's very important to come and do a workshop, because to see other people work, to share with other people, to cry and laugh and dance and discover with other people, there is no substitute to that.
It sounds like a lot of fun, especially when you mention that dance, that sometimes the dance gets your mojo and everything working
Yeah,
and
yeah.
energy flowing, and it is wonderful. Now, please tell our viewers, Nomi, where can we learn more about the Gates of Power method?
So there is the gatesofpower.com, the website, which we're creating a new one, but the old one has enough information. There is the Gates of Power Actualize Your True Self book, which gained much recognition, and it's on Amazon. So you can read it as a book or on Kindle or whatever. It's right there. And then there is the program. You know, I do offer 30 minutes of free consultation if anybody is interested in plunging into this and starting to embrace this for their life. Talk to me.
I
My
love
number is on the gatesofpower.com.
it.
I'm one of those brands that the number is there and there is a person to answer you. The phone rings.
I love it. The phone rings. You heard it here on Ask Sharifah. Now, Nomi, we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I like to do during every show is allow my guests the opportunity to speak right to the viewers who are watching you live and the ones watching in the archive, and just tell them what you want them to take away from your interview.
What I want everybody to take away is that life is precious. We were given a lot of gifts, abilities, talents, and we're here to make the best out of it so that we can be happy, fulfilled, successful, and that we can be giving other people everything that we can give. The world is not in a good place. So let's heal ourselves. Let's create a vibrant, expanded, beautiful life for ourselves. And let's give. Let's make a difference. Let's make a difference. Create a positive world. Women, especially, I think we have a big part in that.
I think that was so powerful, Nomi. Thank you for those words. Women, all of us, we can all do everything we can to make this world a better place. Now, again, if you're watching this interview and just now tuning in, please go ahead and share this interview because friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah. So, Nomi, I want to thank you for being a guest on today's episode.
Thank you for doing this.
You are so welcome. And of course, I have to thank all of our viewers who came in. A couple just popped in, James, Karen, Janice, so many people who tuned in to this live interview. And I definitely appreciate your support. If you are interested in being a guest, a sponsor, or watching more of our interviews, please visit the website at AskSharifah.com. Until then, everyone have a wonderful weekend. Bye now.